become points of concern before they invariably become headlines. The consequence of increase in positivity rate, increase in hospitalizations and ICUs based upon the predicate, this foundation that we laid on utilizing a dimmer switch. Today we are announcing additional statewide actions as it relates to our stay-at-home order here in the state of California. We are now effectively, rather effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms, movie theaters, family entertainment centers, zoos and museums, card rooms, and the shuttering of all bars. This is in every county in the state of California, not just the counties that were on the monitoring list that we announced on July 1st. So this is a new statewide action effective today. Every county in the state of California impacted impacted by a requirement now to modify indoor operations and to expand opportunities for outdoor operations in these specific categories you see on the screen.
Wow. He's pretty smug about it. Yeah. Who's he saving? Okay. So now is February 4th of 2024. I'm on BitChute listening to Alex Jones and people like him talking about the invasion of the United States with all these illegal immigrants just flooding the border and swamping states and whatever and as if Canada doesn't have its own problem. But the difference between the United States and Canada, if I remember correctly, is this: the Global Compact for Migration, which was introduced in 2018, and Canada signed up with it, people. Andre, please. Canada signed up with it, whereas the United States did not. Okay? And since Canada signed up with it, I don't know, people. I'm facing homelessness. Let's just put it that way. Okay? When I leave this house, because of what the federal government, provincial government, and municipal governments are doing in alliance with the United Nations. Okay? There's more to say, but I'll probably put this up on BitChute, so I don't want to get too deep into it. Not that I can do that, but there is something else I'd like to say. But we know how YouTube rocks. They like to throw rocks, right? But in the meantime, we're just going to read this, okay, just as a highlight. The Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration, I don't know if you can see that, is an intergovernmentally negotiated agreement prepared under the auspice of the United Nations that describes itself as covering all dimensions of international migration in a holistic and comprehensive manner. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the word holistic, and I'm going to remind people that whatever is happening in the province of British Columbia, Canada, is also happening right across Canada under this program that is nothing, that has nothing holistic about it. Basically what it's doing, and I know that there is a large number of people that would agree with me, is it's creating mass homelessness of the Canadian-born people as a form of genocide is happening to the Canadian-born people because of the negligence of our governments to blame victims for murder by fentanyl by simply saying it was an accident or a suicide, as they encourage police officers, the coroner's office, and anyone else that's a public union sector to ignore murder so that they can keep with the same old okie dokie, because it leads into illegal organ harvesting, which leads into the underground economy, right? That feeds into criminal acts of all kinds to accommodate this stuff. Because otherwise, families like mine, and I can only really use myself as the perfect example, wouldn't have been targeted to the degree that we were, as well as to the degree that we still face. Because whatever this is doing is making it impossible for me to have a quality of life under a holistic ideology that clearly wasn't written for the Canadian people. Because if it was, I wouldn't bring up this subject, people. Okay? And the issue with Alex Jones is, he's always just rattling on about the illegal border crossings, as if that's the only real problem on the American continent. Right? I mean, obviously he's an American, and he's, just discussing American politics. But at the end of the day, whatever is happening in the United States has already happened in Canada. So when you watch my videos, and I talk about this, and this in terms of the struggles that I face with my family, well, it's already in place. It's just what the Canadian government, federal government did was speed up the process by bringing in more immigrants so that people like my landlord, more than one, right? And their children, I guess you could say, can have less of a feel. I don't want to say remorse, because I don't even think there's any remorse involved here, people. But a less of a feel for what they're doing to my family with the things that I talk about. Knowing that I'm going to be facing homelessness, people. I'm facing losing my grandkids. I'm facing homelessness, with or without eyesight. Because what my governments, federal, provincial, and municipal, are doing under that UN Compact Accord, or whatever it's called. That's not what it's called. It's called the it's called, where was it? Don't tell me I lost it already. The Global Compact for Migration. Why does my landlord need me when all they have to do is wait for a family from Syria, a whole bunch of Punjabi men from Punjab or India, same place, right? Or, what? They gotta have money, right? So of course the government's bringing in either people with money that are being sponsored, and they're stacking and packing them in the houses as the houses are being torn down. to build inferior buildings to accommodate immigrants coming in with 1 or 2 kids with their subsidies to pay $2,500, $3,500 for a stack and pack building that's like, who knows, very small, either or. I don't know. I should gather up the frickin' the square footage in terms of what you're paying $3,000 for when it comes to a stack and pack. Oh man, it makes me so mad, people. Okay, the United States is not signed up to this problem here that Canada has. Well, Alex Jones just hypes it up in terms of their problem. Like, I'm surprised.
James Soros.
I'm surprised Biden.
She destroyed Trump, said it was all political. Here's Korean War veteran
didn't sign up the U.S. government
95, sorry,
to what the Canadian government signed up with the UN.
And 53 other residents were kicked out of their New York nursing home
But
on short notice.
It doesn't matter, though, in the end, because at the end of the day, the United Nations is coming in on a wild card under health, to which Dr. Bonnie Henry, a.k.a. Dr. Death, or whatever she is to you, was appointed to a health officer position within the province of British Columbia, Canada, in 2018 at pretty much the same, well, I don't want to say time, but within the same year that the Canadian government signed up the UN. While the Americans, they didn't sign it. And because they didn't sign it, they left the border open through Biden, as he rattles on about rigged elections, right? And then rattles on about the crises that's developing with the number of people with not enough resources, as the American people are falling through the cracks, just like the Canadian people are falling through the cracks in terms of the numbers of homelessness are rising, the numbers of deaths are rising, as our governments are ignoring the cause, the true cause. Don't blame the victim. Don't blame it on suicide. Don't blame it on, what is that? It was an accident, you know. Blame it on murder, because that's basically what's happening. Especially when they've got the open border with the cartel and God knows who else bringing in the fentanyl, even though the fentanyl could be manufactured itself in freaking United States of America. And don't say that's not true. They run meth labs in America. They, all kinds of drug labs, right? So, what was the point of that? Well, there was something I was listening, so let's listen for a minute.
So it can be turned into housing for illegal migrants. Here's a clip.
It was very disgraceful what they did to the people in Island Shores. They gave us time to get out, but they never said when, and they never said they were going to get us out. And then one day, there's a thing on the board, a notice on the board, you gotta be out by March 15th. I think that gave us like a month and a half to find out where we're gonna go. I thought my suitcases were gonna be on the curb because I'm not that fast.
Yeah, where I get told they're bringing in the bins. Okay, go ahead. Smash up a bunch of jars and throw out the food and, for what? To rent the house out to an immigrant family on a bunch of subsidies to pay an overinflated rent well, the bottom half is filled up, stuffed full with a bunch of Punjabi men, right? Just waiting to go to work and demolish houses and then build stack and pack buildings that are overinflated with no amenities outside of a playground at the top of it. Yeah, okay. With plastic pipes yet to boot. Yeah, okay. That building that's over there that was designed for the elderly people is still sump pumping out the water when it rains too heavy into the alley. Okay? I asked my neighbor, well, has anyone moved in yet? It's only been 3 years. She said all she ever sees people is 2 lights on in the back. Go figure. Go figure. But they're always out there sump pumping the carport basement at the bottom of the building because it floods with water. Yeah, that's what they're building. And they want $3,000 for a 1-bedroom. Yeah, okay. As they're trying to sell it, suites as well, right? But ain't nobody buying. Well, yeah, ain't nobody buying because they're medically kidnapping all the Caucasian elderly people so that they can go in and steal their houses, right? Once the elderly person is locked up into the healthcare system and is told that they can't go home, they're going into long-term care, they have to sell their house. What do you think happens? Okay? That's the problems that we have out here. So yeah, don't be surprised that nobody's buying that building. They're all disappearing into the healthcare system and then going into long-term care to just one day suddenly die. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
If it wasn't for my daughter, they would have been on the curb.
If that isn't a problem, I don't know what is.
That's what it happened, and that was it. I said, no, you're not moving me. And they said, yes, we are. And everything was done behind closed doors. Yeah. And we didn't have a chance to actually make any attempt to stop them because it was...
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I never know when it's coming. Seriously. Like, my nerves are so fucking frazzled, bad dreams all the time over a period of years, and just, you don't know what's coming, right? That's what the government of Canada, the federal government under Trudeau signed us up for. Us Canadians, that is. Well, the Americans, Trump didn't sign it, right? But it didn't matter. It didn't matter, right? They're still coming in. So both countries are facing the same issue here.
But when Governor DeSantis shipped only 2 buses to Martha's Vineyard, they were gone in 14 hours. Now, that's bad enough, and they're kicking people out of their housing as well. But
yeah, in Canada as well. And as fast as they're kicking them out, they're tripling the rent and renting it out more than likely to an immigrant family that's subsidized. Okay? Unless they're coming in with sponsors and buying houses. A monster home at that. Okay? There's only certain kinds of immigrants that come to Canada with certain kind of resources. Yeah.
But I can play you countless clips, you remember them all, out of Europe, in Italy and Germany. Little private motels, kicking out the guests, putting the illegals in, not even paying the old man that owned the place, kicking people out of their nursing homes. This is the plan, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, they don't kick them out of nursing homes now. People just die in the nursing home. Okay? Lots of people have experienced that problem with their loved ones dying with no witnesses.
Gentlemen, it's pure criminal activity. And the illegal aliens, MS-13 and others that Pelosi...
Okay, now this is where we're going to get to, okay? The illegal alien, it's not about being illegal or legal, okay? Illegal organ harvesting exists just like legal organ harvesting exists. Well, it's the same thing with the legal migrant, immigrant, whatever you want to call them, is equal and in par with the illegal immigrant, migrant, whatever you want to call them, okay? There is no difference.
You remember, called All God's Children. They have blue cities they go rob in, and they know they'll be let out by the Soros DAs and other prosecutors, and then they run back to other red states where people wouldn't put up with them. And here is CNN's Erica Hill stunned speechless by report from law enforcement that illegal aliens run crews that operate in New York and do all their stealing, then go to Florida. Here's the report.
Back. You don't touch our police officers. You don't touch anybody. Thank you, everybody.
I mean, we're hearing a change when it comes to immigration in general from President Biden on down. To hear her talk about that, it is also directly related to the fact that these were police officers. Does that have any impact? Does that change anything?
Well, it's so complicated because, you know, you're a New Yorker, you move through the city every day as I do. We see these people, we touch these people, they're out looking for work, they're delivering our food, they're at the gas stations and the car wash. I mean, these are people who came in waves, you know, 170,000 probably to New York City.
Okay, what bothers me about this, and this is why I turned this camera on, because they're trying to make it sound like this dude ends up saying 1% out of 170,000 illegal immigrants coming to, I think this was New York, right? Only 1% are of quote-unquote criminal element. That is a fallacy. Fallacy? Fallacy. That is a fallacy. That is a straight-up freaking lie. I don't like it when these individuals purport, right, try to say that only a certain kind of quote-unquote class of people are of criminal mind, as they ignore the white-collar criminal activity that actually leads into illegal organ harvesting, snuff movies, human trafficking, illegal evictions to create mass homelessness so it's easier to pick them up off the fucking streets when you want them, right? Snatch up the babies, you know, by disrupting the house and breaking up the family and medically kidnapping the elderly for their like you don't ever hear these people talk about that kind of level of criminal activity, right? That goes directly against legislation and laws, rules and regulations. In Canada, it would also go against the Criminal Code of Canada, and then whatever criminal codes that they've got in the United States. They never talk about that, but they always bring attention to the petty 1% that ruins it for the other 99% out of 170,000 illegal immigrants, as if somehow it's okay. You don't have to worry about the other ones looking to eke out a living and become rich, right? Who cares about their organized religion, right? Because we don't talk about that kind of stuff. No. We got to focus on the hood rats, not the professional criminal, right? And that's why the professional criminals continue to flourish and get away with the things that they do.
But within that group, this hardworking, you know, throngs of people in search of hope and a better life, there is this one...
Yeah, well, I come across hardworking people in search of a better life that like to illegally harvest organs, okay? As they're plotting and scheming in their freaking temple how to evict the victims to that process so that they can perhaps harvest more organs illegally. And that's all done legally through legal immigration.
1%er, you know, criminal element that looks at a different opportunity here. These individuals, I went over their rap sheets yesterday. Multiple charges, grand larceny, robbery, attempt.
Yeah, well, we know that the province of British Columbia, Canada, will not charge Eleanor Gilding. We know that the province of British Columbia, Canada, will not charge Dr. Barr for what he did to my daughter, Shemay Chorney, right? We know that the province of British Columbia, Canada, will not charge the coroner's office, none of those RCMP police officers, or anybody else that was involved with the death and murder of my daughter, Sierra Chorney, and what happened to her body after the fact of them pillaging it. Okay, so whatever this dude's got to say is mute, right? He's just going for the little guppies in the fish bowl. Forget about being in a fish tank. He's just going after the guppies in the fish bowl. Oh, little goldfish in a fish bowl? Yeah. Yeah, that shows you how corrupt, well, maybe even Alex Jones himself, because he feeds into the old okie dokie. Oh, sure, he'll throw a bone here and he'll throw a bone there. Oh, yeah, we got illegal organ harvesting, but we're not going to delve deep into that. No, because that would rock too many fucking boats. And you never know, I might need an organ myself one day, so it's not like I'm going to shoot myself in the foot, right? You know, I got a little stash over here, so if I need a heart or a liver, you know, I got connections. So all I have to do is put it out there that it's real, but we won't do no real investigated, what is that called, reporting on that. No, instead, we're going to distract away from the true criminals in our society outside of petty hood rats. Right? Because that's just petty shit. And this illegal immigration flooding the United States of America, well, welcome to Canada. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it's legal or illegal. It's all one big pile of UN crap. Okay, we're going to listen to this again. And we're going to just listen, and I'll probably have something to say. Hold on.
Port.
Back. You don't touch our police officers. You don't touch anybody. Thank you, everybody.
I mean, we're hearing a change when it comes to immigration in general from President Biden on down. To hear her talk about that, it is also directly related to the fact that these were police officers. Does that have any impact? Does that change anything?
Well, it's so complicated because, you know, you're a New Yorker, you move through the city every day as I do. We see these people, we touch these people, they're out looking for work, they're delivering our food, they're at the gas stations and the car wash. I mean, these are people who came in waves, you know, 170,000 probably to New York City. But within that group.
Oh, yeah. Same thing with British Columbia, Canada, but I can guarantee you it's been more than 170,000, okay? All supported by the government or with their sponsors, one way or another, okay? Yeah.
This hardworking, you know, throngs of people in search of hope and a better life. There is this 1%er, you know, criminal element that looks at a different opportunity here. These individuals, I went over their rap sheets.
Well, it's more than a 1% of criminal activity with the immigrants coming in that participate in white-collar criminal activity. Okay, a much higher percentage than your local hood rat.
Yesterday, multiple charges, grand larceny, robbery, attempted robbery, grand larceny.
Well, when you body snatch, isn't that grand larceny? Stealing? Right? Huh? When you murder somebody, isn't that same kind of thing? Right?
This particular crew operated on mopeds and scooters. They were...
Out here, they like to operate with their fancy-dancy, shiny, brand-new Subarus, whether black or white. Or maybe they'll be undercover, right? Just making themselves appear like they're nonchalant, but at the end of the day, it's gimme, and give me some more, and I'm still not satisfied, and I want more, and I'm gonna get it by any means necessary, even if it means having your family fall apart. Because The federal government said it was okay. I could do that. I could participate in that because it stimulates the economy, both the, fiscal budget when it comes to government and their shenanigans, as well as the underground economy, right?
Doing organized retail theft. They were doing snatching.
They were snatching and doing organized retail theft. Well, what do you think illegal organ harvesting is all about, people? Evicting people so that they become homeless, so that they're easier to target if they're not dying inside their house as the cops are covering up murder, okay? To prop up organized religion.
On the street, iPhones, iPads, clothing, so on and so forth. One of them that they are still...
Get rid of your stuff. You will own nothing and be happy. What, you haven't sold your stuff yet? Don't you realize you'll never have another house like this? Right? You're destined to fail. You're destined to be homeless. You're destined to live in a fucking hole in the ground at some point in the future because you can't afford anything because you're useless and worthless. You're not the preferred citizen anymore. The UN made the UN compact fucking agreement. They made it so that way because the holistic has nothing to do with you as a Canadian and your rights. It has to do with other people's rights that, I don't know, think they're better than everybody else because the UN said so.
Seeking has 10 charges on one day because he's part of a pattern that's been going on, and I'm looking...
Well, yeah, it's a smokescreen. You charge them, but you won't charge the real criminals in the community that are laundering millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars through trafficking of body parts, including teeth.
At the dates that their arrest started, which is probably close to when they got here. They've only been here a couple of months. So what the detectives are telling me is they have crews here that operate in New York, do all their stealing, then go to Florida to spend the money and then come back. And I'm like, well, why don't they just stay and steal in Florida? And they said, because there you go to jail. Oh.
Organized religion. Organized crime networks. Organized cartels. Mafias, mobs, extremists, terrorists, whatever you want to call them. It's all organized, right? But not everything is petty. We're made to believe it's just petty. 99% come into the country to be hard workers. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure Dr. Barr was a hard worker. Eleanor Gilding was a hard worker, hard-working, stealing money and body parts, and plotting and scheming who to take out next. And because they have so much money, they can afford to put hits out on people. So for all I know, maybe my landlords were bought off by fucking Eleanor Gilding to put a fucking hit on my family and force us out of this house, knowing that the provincial government is protecting her ass and would love to see me out in the street so I don't talk about this shit. Yeah. With Trudeau's immigration policy. Yeah. We got more than 170,000 immigrants coming into this province in the last freaking year. Oh yeah, I can guarantee you, we're like living in little China, little India, little freaking Syria, little freaking Afghanistan, right? Everybody's got their own little pocket. Yeah, as they're plotting and scheming to branch out and wipe out families like mine. Yeah. That sounds really holistic, doesn't it? Yeah, as the cops are bought off. Yeah, getting their fair share. Yeah, right along with the robotoid coroner. Yeah.
Fair point. Keep us posted on this.
Totally speechless. Crime, violent crime has exploded to levels never before seen, but
And that's what I don't like about Alex Jones, because for as tough as he tries to make himself sound to be, he's petty. He's just picking at pebbles. He's weak. He can't pick up the big boulders and throw them like what is that? That you have a ball and you throw it. What is that called? No, I know it's a metal ball. It's there's a name for that sport. It's a sport. It's on the tip of my tongue and I can't.
Dodgeball?
No, it's a metal ball that.
The one that goes on a rope and then you throw it, right? That one?
No, I think they throw it by hand. Anyway, you get my point, right? He can't pick up the boulder and throw the boulder. The best he can do is just pick up a few pebbles on the ground and mention that there's boulders over there, but he won't touch them with a 10-foot pole, right? Because the petty crime is nothing compared to what the big boulders bring to the country. And there's nothing holistic about it. Okay. Right. And just because it's being done legally or illegally, doesn't matter what country you're talking about. It's all the same BS. Okay, I Googled. So where is it? It's called a shot put. It's for track and field, right? The shot put is a track and field event involving throwing a heavy spherical ball, the shot, as far as possible. For men, the sport has been men's shot put world record. Women's shot put world record. Yeah, people take it very serious, right? Well, remove the heavy spherical ball, and replace it with a freaking big-ass boulder, okay? Right? Alex Jones can't do either or. He can only pick up pebbles, right? And focus on the petty criminal and not the real criminals that run our economy outside of mentioning, oh yeah, there's the cartel and, and it's all the cartel's fault. It's all the Mexican cartel's fault, Oh yeah, we got illegal organ harvesting in the United States of America, but we're not going to touch on that base too much because that might rock too many boats and that boulder is too heavy. So we'll just focus on, the petty news reports where, it goes into fear porn, right? But it doesn't do anything to stop anything. No.
for 3 years, the FBI has made in over 100 cities, all the major cities, like 127 cities, look it up. It was about 3 years ago it came out. FBI, headline, FBI makes crime statistics from largest cities secret. And so they don't even show those numbers now. That's how they say, oh, crime's gone down under Biden.
Yeah, but all he's talking about is the petty crime, the street crime, the hood rat crime, the Julian Johnson crimes, right? You know, the little petty drug dealers, the little ones that like to do hot shots on vulnerable women and kill them so that the cops can come in with the coroner and the paramedics and rush them off to the hospital and book them in for surgery and, fuck with the family's head for 9 days and just, and then go on to the next family member and harvest their organs illegally. And, he doesn't talk about any of that crap. Oh, God, no. No. Because the majority of that's being run by the public union sector, people. That's why. And they use the immigrants as grunts, for the most part. Mm-hmm. Unless, of course, they're in a prestigious position, like that Punjabi Dr. Barr that was doting after Shmai's dead body for 9 days. But what would you consider to be more serious? Someone like that? Doing it time after time after time and getting richer and richer and richer, and then going to his temple and walking among his Punjabi peers, bragging on about how fucking rich he is and what a good doctor he is as he's making backroom deals in between listening to sermons, whatever they preach in their temples, right? Selling body parts under the table because it's all being done illegally, right? And then because he's so prestigious, all his peers, they look up to him and want to be like him and will cover for him. Well, the government doesn't give a rat's ass because it stimulates the economy. And it provides those people with the income that they need in order to kick me out of my house, put me on the fucking run in my own country as they target my children or grandchildren, knowing that the government will protect them as they bring in tens of thousands, tens of thousands, tens of thousands, tens of thousands. Holistically, that is. Oh yeah, come to Canada. We love you. We're an open, free society. Don't worry. Be happy. Right? To fill up the void. To hide the crimes. To feed those new immigrants with the same type of ideology so that it becomes a prodigy where they become like their fellow, I don't want to say leaders, but basically you can consider Dr. Barr to be a fucking leader within his community because he's rich off of the back of body parts. Why doesn't Alex Jones talk about that shit instead of trying to say, oh, well, statistically, we have less crime on the streets? Who cares about the streets? Let's go to the top of the freaking pyramid here. Because if you take out the top, maybe my daughter would be alive today. Maybe both my daughters would be alive today. Maybe Uncle John wouldn't have been medically kidnapped and would still be alive today. How is it that my landlord and my landlady, well, my landlady was what, 84 years old now? Well, my landlord is 86 years old now, but they can live, but not Uncle John? He's dead? Why? Because he's Caucasian? Because the government gave permission to his sister to rob him and then to lock him up like a dirty secret so that he became lonely and was crying for his family. All his grandkids, Brooks, Sierra, Marcaine, Shemaine, Tisha, Andre, his great-grandson, crying for me. But no, they had to lock him up like a dirty secret, keep him fucking drugged up until he died. So that they could cover up what his sister did. Because he wasn't the first victim, people. You see, that's the thing. She knew what she was doing because it was way, way too smooth. And not only was it too smooth, but everybody that she came into contact with within the healthcare system and the banking system covered her ass. Well, the government in court to this day still covers her ass. Just like they covered up Dr. Barr's ass as they bring in more immigrants to remove the fact that there was a family that had Shemay alive at one point, that had Uncle John alive at one point, that Sierra was alive at one point. Don't tell me Amari was not injured at the time of his birth when I can prove that whatever you wrote in my freaking medical files, if you've been watching my videos, is false. It affected my daughter, Tisha, by being blue when she was born. So if that can happen to Tisha, damn right, whatever happened to Amari happened in Shemay's stomach for 5 days as those workers, more than freaking 90%, if not 95%, all immigrant workers from backward countries that are basically racist and don't want you as a Canadian, especially if you're a targeted one, to have nothing because they want it first by any means necessary because Dr. Barr said so. If you follow my lead, sneak around in the dark, cut backroom deals, be a real crook, a real one, not a petty one, but a hardcore motherfucker one. The one that is the boulder. There you go, Alex Jones. Why don't you talk about that shit? You just, you're, I don't know. I've been listening to you since 1999, and it's just one big rigmarole. That's it.